So for the structure, which is straightforward and it is kind of so, all the elements are coming from directly from your primary business object. So they are all at the same level. I will give you one more example. Sorry to interrupt, so I have a question here. So it just goes by the hierarchy, right? So if I say like I want some random worker, let's say, from your screen I see Sebastian Santiago. Whatever it is down there, is that worker right? So what if I want the department? Name for that specific worker. So how does the hierarchy goes on what basis? I mean, the hierarchy will be same, but how? On what basis it will pull the data, with the reference ID or with what is it? I just want one information. Or yeah, where your cursor is. For that specific worker. I need the hire date. Yeah, so let's say you are here in this particular XML. So in our case, we do not have any primary level of information for now, because we just added it. For example. So now to find every worker? We would, because hire date could be a common field, right? So let's say I have added an employee ID level field, in which will be my primary key to identify each and every worker. So now, once my primary key employee ID is being added as a one more element in here, because until my employee ID is there, it doesn't make sense, or I could. What I could do is maybe, let's say, I have a primary work email which could be my primary identity, because email should be different for all the workers. So you will have when you are applying the loop. While applying the loop. Let's say, if you only want to process a worker who is having the Santiago Workday.net as email ID, so while you are looping in your loop you will put a condition that the primary work email report entry, WD report data, WD report entry, and WD primary work email. Is this so only for that particular node, because these are repetitive nodes? WD report entry is getting repeated again. This is getting repeated so you cannot say that where with your worker lie. You can also, while you are looping in, you can also give in the braces the number, let's say third number from the top or fourth number from the top, so that it will only process the fourth number loop. But you don't know where would your worker fall in this list tomorrow? It is coming in the fourth number, but day after it could come in the 5 or go to the top. So then what you would do? You will put a condition in while you are looping in, that you only want to process the information which is based on the primary worker email. So it will only going to pick, it will find that, where it is going to find this worker with the email, this, and then, in the next step, you are going to process the node for that particular worker with its hire date or this department or this email, or whatever you want to inform in normal cases, just like you want to consume every worker data. So you will put a loop on WD report entry and then it will get processing for each report entry and then you will, one by one, process each record of that, each worker. And once you have the information for each worker, then whatever you want to do, you can do so. First of all, you will consume every data and let's say, whenever you find your email, this one, if you want to do any additional processing or you don't want to process this particular worker's hire rate, so you can skip that as well. So all these conditions can be built in your transformation, which is called as accessibility. But to understand the XPath where and you do not need not to mug up this XPath thing, so there are tools to find this XPath, you just need to know the concept that, how the hierarchy is established and how, in general, you want to find the XPath. Otherwise, if you want to know the XPath of this hire rate particular field, there are now tools, so Studio is also useful in this case. You can just copy this XML, open it in the Studio, and then Studio itself has a tool that you just right-click here, then it will. Just you can choose an option, Get XPath. So in Studio, it will give you the exact XPath that where this element is based, like WD report data, WD report entry and, inside this, WD hire rate. So any element that you want. So this Workday Studio is also there, and there are other tools like Oxygen, and all those tools are also there which can help you find XPath. So that's why I also don't trust XPath writing it myself, because you might miss something in the code or it's like a syntax you got wrong. So it's always better to go by that route and copy the exact path which is given by the system. But you should also understand how the XPath is generated and what it is. So I have explained you here. So this was for your simple XML. Similarly for your Workday XML. It is little bit more detailed information. So let's say somebody is saying that I want the vid of the department. I don't want the name of the department, I want the vid of the department. So in that case, what you would do? You would go to the WD department. Inside the WD department you will go to WD ID and then you will, because you will see in the WD ID is also getting repeated WD ID, WD ID, WD ID, and here also WD ID type. So there are 3 WD ID types. This information is also same. This information is also same, so in this case you will have to while you are writing the XPath. So these are like attributes. So these are the attributes of this element, so you will have to define that. What is the type that you are looking for? So if you are looking for WD descriptor of this department field, you will say WD, at the rate WD, so there are codes you will easily get. It will understand that as well. That if I want to get the vid, so I will write at the rate vid. WD department / at the rate vid. So in that case, this will be my XPath for this value. If I say WD department and WD type is equals to organization reference ID, then I will get this. So every element is stored with the particular XPath. So since this is detail level of information, then I will have to go one more level deep under the department. So if I just do WD department, I will get this information, and if I do WD department WD type is equals to vid, then I will get this information. So similar way. Each and every element has particular XPath where that information is stored, and this is how your simple XML get differentiated from your WD XML if the fields are of single instance, multi-instance types. So the primary email is your normal text field, so this is how it is normally stored in here, your department name, level field, which was a multi-instance field. Here how you would have seen the information stored in here. So in the single instance field only the names of your dependents were stored and separated by a semicolon, but here, if you would go in the WD XML, the information you would find. So this is the information for your first dependent here, for your first employee. So how it is stored, this is the tag we had from our report and inside this the descriptor. So this is the name of my first dependent. So now not just the dependent name. I have the dependent ID vid, and then the dependent ID as well. Can you actually show me the navigation of this page, from where we got into this XML code, where we generated it? Yes, how we just went here and click on this WD XML. So you go to report, and then we went to report here. We went to web service. And then we were here, and from there, we just clicked simple XML, and we also clicked WD XML. So in WD XML, only in WD XML, we will see vid right, not in simple one. You can get it in simple XML as well, but then you will have to write the calculated field to it. Why we are using vid? What is vid? Did is Workday ID. What is this purpose? Purpose is like Workday by default. If you are generating a Workday XML, Workday is giving you more than what is needed, because there is a logic to it, because simple XML will give you the mere basic information. If your downstream system just needs that, you can just pass this information. Maybe. Did is not useful. Did is not at all useful for a downstream system.